Hey there, everybody. It's me, Kay, and I'm gonna talk to you today about some very important stuff while we're working in the Nether. Just bear with me. This is not gonna be a super, funny time episode, although I'm sure it will be interesting. I just want to talk to you guys about some really important stuff. It's important for me, and it's important for you. So I hope you'll stick with me while we talk about this today. And I don't like the sound of that ghast, first of all. That's important to me, too. I've made a little cage here to keep me safe. Ghast. He's not in the neighborhood, so I don't care about him enough. Okay, so here's the deal, guys. This week is kind of an important week for a lot of people because it's not today for you guys, but it was for me. Today is Mental Health Day, World Mental Health Day, and it's kind of a time to talk about and discuss the stigma that we have with mental health, and especially here in America, there's a lot of stigma attached to it. And it's really an unfortunate thing. I'm not going to be talking about that, because I believe that's already been discussed really well in a lot of other sources. If you watch, for example, Last Week Tonight, which is on YouTube, I myself watched that and enjoyed it a lot, there is an episode very recently, the most recent one at the time of this, that talks about exactly that problem. And this has nothing to do with the reason why they're talking about that. This has just something to do with this specific day where we talk about mental health. And so I want to talk about that today because I know I have viewers who have various mental health issues, and they are not alone in that because I myself do. I have really, really severe chronic depression, and I have had it since I was very, very young. It's something that I've had to deal with my entire life, essentially my entire adult life. And I just want to talk to people today about that a little bit, about depression, about mental health in general. If you have friends who have mental health problems, this is a good episode for you because you will learn a little bit about how to help deal with it, how to help them deal with it specifically. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in a landing. Okay. The chief most thing about this is people treat mental health really poorly. At least in America. I don't know how it is in other countries. I don't. Chime in the comments if you're not from the US and you know more about this in other countries than I do, because I'm really curious. But here in the US, it's really kind of a stigmatized thing. We used to just lock people in asylums before we knew what more to do for them. Thankfully, that largely changed, but unfortunately now we tend to lock them in jail, which is just really as bad. But, now I have another pick, good. But I wanted to talk about my depression and kind of give a message to viewers who have mental health issues. First and foremost, you need to treat mental health problems for what they are. Depression is not a part of my personality. It's not who I am. It's not who I want to be. And so it needs to be treated for what it is, which is a disease. Your brain is an organ too, same as any other part of your body, and it can have problems, same as any other part of your body. So it's important for people to not feel bad about having a mental problem. It's something that you need to treat. It's something that you need to address. It's like if you have asthma, you take medicines so that your lungs work better. If you have a mental illness, you very often need to take medicine so that your brain will work better. And that's really nothing you should be ashamed of. And if people make you feel bad because you have a mental problem, then shame on them, because that is not your fault. And this is to everybody who will ever watch this that suffers from any kind of mental problem, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, depression, autism, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. It's not you, and it's not your fault for having it. So don't let other people make you feel bad about that. If I had my choice, I wouldn't suffer from depression. I absolutely would not. Because it makes it hard to do my work, and it makes it really hard to live my life. And if you ever see me like not quite doing something as quick as I said I would, or if I just have problems someday, or I sound a little off, it's because of that. It's just because my depression is really bad at that moment. And I have had a lot of really bad depressive episodes over the last probably 6 months, with it getting completely out of control over the last 3. And to that end, I wanted to talk to you guys about that exact aspect a little bit today. And this is kind of a heavy subject, I know, but I don't have anything else to talk about today, and it's important that I talk about this right now anyway. First and foremost, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, because I keep saying, if you have a mental illness, you need to treat it. You need to medicate it if there's medication available for it, because it's a disease and it needs to be treated, like all diseases do. I'm gonna go into the doctor this coming Monday after this video has been aired on YouTube, and I'm going to go in and get mental treatment. I'm going to go on medication for depression, which I've done in the past, and I'm gonna tell you guys, this one's specifically to anybody who's watching and has depression. This one's for you right here. The drugs that they will give you for depression, while very safe by and large, go away, Pigman, he's just, okay. While very safe by and large, are really hard to deal with. Oh God. They have some pretty nasty side effects, I'm the first person to admit. The reason I stopped taking them the first time was because I couldn't deal with the side effects. I've taken them before, and it was just too much for me. If you take them, you might get very nauseous, a lot. You might not be able to sleep. You might have mood swings. You might have a lot of problems that you don't want, and you certainly don't need or deserve when you're dealing with depression. But it's still important that you take it. And no matter how bad I feel, I'm going to stick with them this time, because I need to get my depression under control. I know it's really hard to do. Trust me. And if you ever feel bad and you're taking them, I've been right there. I know exactly what you've been through. Believe me. I know. And that's just what I wanted to say to anybody who's watching and suffers from specifically depression, though any mental illness applies here. It's like, I know where you've been. It's some bad shit. And if you need somebody to talk to, you can find a friend. If you don't have a friend who you feel comfortable talking to about that, then you can talk to a counselor or a family member. If you've got nobody else at all, you can talk to me. Because I've been there and I will respect it. It's a hard thing to deal with, guys, I know. But, if people step up and start addressing it for what it is and do what they can for it, then it doesn't have to be a hard thing for people. So I'm going to get better soon, but as a consequence of that, it may interfere with my recording and my work for a while, because the side effects of those are pretty bad initially while you're getting used to them. The drug I'm going on is a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, which basically makes it so that you don't lose as much of the serotonin that your body produces, which is a chemical that keeps your mood more stable and makes you generally less depressed. Your body creates it, but mine doesn't create nearly enough, and it runs out very quickly. By taking this, I won't run out as quickly, so my mood will be higher on aggregate, I suppose you'd say. The problem is, it also does other things. Serotonin is in your stomach, and it helps regulate how you digest things, and without it, you are incredibly nauseous. And if you have too much of it, you are incredibly nauseous. So I will probably be, you guessed it, incredibly nauseous. So, and last time, it was crying on the bathroom floor, waking up after sleeping on it for 11 hours. That kind of level of nausea. If you've ever had a hangover, I imagine it's like that, like really cranked up to 11. I don't drink, so I'm not sure. But yeah, it's nasty business. It's still worth it in the end, because losing the ability to control how you feel is quite possibly the most horrible thing I can imagine. And it's worth it to get better. Believe me, The only reason I stopped taking it, other than the side effects not going away very fast for me, was it wasn't a good one. There's plenty of them, and I'm going to try a different one. So don't be afraid to talk to a doctor if you can see one. A lot of places, because of how the Affordable Health Care Act works here in the U.S. now, if you're probably on some kind of state insurance, if you didn't have it before, and a lot of them cover this completely. So that's actually a really good thing. I suggest you give it a shot because you have really nothing to lose except whatever's wrong with you, which is something you probably want to lose. I can't speak for everybody, of course, but in my case, choosing to medicate it will be the right decision, and I'm happy with that. But like I said, it's going to mess with my recording schedule a lot. I don't know if I'll be able to record during some of the really bad days. I've been doing Minecraft 4 days a week, and I've been doing stuff on the website and everything. I hate that button. Oh, I hate that button. And I'm going to try to keep that schedule up, but just understand if for the next few months until maybe December or January 2016, I might be a little messed up, and I might not be able to do a lot off and on. I'll have good days, so there will still be recordings. Of course, Nori and Milky and Surge and Carmine will have videos up. They are unaffected by this. I just wanted to keep you guys appraised while we talked about the whole subject of mental health in general a little bit today. But that's about all I have to say on the subject. I just want to say to anybody who's struggling with it, you got my support. I know it's bad. I've been there with you. Take my word for it and do what you can. You can definitely make it better for yourself. Really, are you in the hole? Are you in the hole? If I hit you, then it's going to open up the gates of hell on me. He's going to come up here and he's going to beat me up. All I want is to put a block in that hole that you're standing in. Is this some kind of protest? If you wanted a funny part in this episode, guys, here's your funny part. This guy's just ruined my recording. Get out of the hole! There. Was that really so hard? Man, I don't know about these pigmen. I wish I could get rid of all of them. That's a little genocidal sounding, but desperate times call for desperate measures, I feel. Okay, and that is... Let me check the height on this, now that I'm done talking about stuff for the episode. Yeah, that's actually perfectly good height. So we're going to take it to that height, and we'll build from there. Here we go. There's a staircase up. I'm going to start slapping stairs in there so I can actually walk it without jumping, because jumping, as I've started to figure out, consumes hunger. I didn't know that initially. I did not know about that. That is a fascinating thing to have learned. Jumping actually lowers your I guess, raises your hunger. It lowers your food a little bit is what it does. And the less you do that in long traveling periods, the better off you'll be, because you'll go through less food on aggregate. So I'm gonna look into trying to minimize the amount of jumping I have to do by putting in stairs. And I'll make something pretty in there at some point, too. I don't have to worry about lighting, because lighting doesn't matter in the Nether. We're almost out of time for this episode, so I want to thank you guys for sticking with it. I know that was a pretty heavy subject. I hope it helped out a few people that are having any problems. You know, it's just important to talk to somebody about that sort of thing. If you don't have a discussion about it, then nothing's going to change. And as someone who suffers from a mental illness, I thought it was kind of my place to talk about it a little bit today. I'm going to work on this some more in the next episode. Probably going to get into some trouble in the Nether very shortly. But for now, I will see you guys next time. And I'll be back with more Minecraft. Goodbye for now, everybody.